Okay, if you're watching this at like 1 a.m., I already know what's going on. You're not insomniac. You're just tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. It's this dull, heavy thing sitting behind your eyes. You close the game, open the tab, close the tab 2 seconds later, and just sit there, staring at nothing. You're not even bored, you're just stalled out. And what you're actually looking at, when you stare at that blank screen, is your life. Which, yeah, dramatic, I know, but that's what it is. It feels like a loading screen that never finishes loading. Meanwhile, everyone else seems to already be 3 hours into their session. They've got a build going, an inventory, and a plan. And you're standing at spawn wondering if anyone's going to explain the controls to you. Spoiler is, nobody is going to, and there's no tutorial. You want to do something about it. You open the mental menu to plan it out, and there's just too much in there. Too much tabs, too many directions you could go. So you close the menu and queue up another match instead, because that at least has rules you understand. But it doesn't actually fix anything. You shut the PC off, the room goes dark, and the real thing, the one with no pause button, is still sitting there waiting for you. So let's actually talk about why this is happening, instead of just describing the feeling for 10 more minutes. First thing, stop calling yourself lazy. It's not true and it's not even useful. I have no discipline is a lazy diagnosis for a real problem. Here's the actual problem. You're being asked to run 5 different lives at once. Grades have to be good. There's also supposed to be a side hustle, because God forbid you just have one job. You're supposed to be at the gym, tracking something, optimizing something. You're also supposed to be working on your mental health, whatever that means on a random Tuesday. And somewhere in there, you're also meant to have a social life that doesn't look like you've been in witness protection. Imagine someone handed you 5 monitors, 1 keyboard, and said, play all 5 at a competitive level simultaneously or you failed. That's not a discipline problem. That's just not possible. Nobody can do that. Not even the most disciplined person you know. Not some productivity guy on YouTube. Nobody. So your brain does the only thing it can do with an impossible task. It throws errors constantly. You study and some part of your brain flags that you're not making money right now. You go to the gym and it flags that you're not studying. You actually rest, the one correct move, and it flags that you're being lazy. That background noise, that's the exhaustion. It's not the work itself wearing you out. It's running 5 guilt trips at once before you've even started your day. You don't need more willpower. You need to stop pretending 5 screens is a normal workload. Here's the part that makes it worse. It's not just that there's too much going on, it's that you're scared to touch any of it. In a video game, if you mess up, you reload the save. Zero stakes. Messed up your build? Fine, try again, nobody remembers. But life doesn't have that. There's no reset button, no second save file, you get one run. So your brain starts treating every decision like it's permanent and catastrophic. Wrong major, you're ruined. Business fails, you're ruined. Wasted a year? Ruined forever. None of that is actually true, but it's what it feels like at 2 a.m. And when everything feels that high stakes, your brain's solution is simple. Don't do anything. Can't fail a quest you never accepted. So you start saying no to things without even noticing you're doing it. Think about the last few months. How many small things came up that you just let slide? A message you didn't send, a thing you didn't apply for, or maybe a person you didn't talk to. And at the time, you probably told yourself it wasn't a big deal, wasn't that important anyway. That's not true, and you know it's not true. You skipped it because doing nothing felt safer than doing something and having it go badly. You protected your ego and called it being chill. Here's the actual mindset shift, and it's the one thing I want you to actually take from this video. When you skip something out of fear, your brain tells you a nice little lie. Well, I didn't lose anything. Like you're just parked there, safe, untouched. And that's not how it works. There's no pause button on your actual life. Time's moving whether you're moving with it or not. So skipping the thing isn't neutral, it's just losing slower and quieter in a way that doesn't feel like losing until way later. Do the actual math on it. Worst case, you try the thing and it doesn't work out. You lose a bit of time, you feel embarrassed for a week and you move on. That's it. That's the entire downside. However, the best case is it changes something real. A conversation, a connection, a confidence boost that carries into the next 10 things you try. And even if it goes badly, you actually learn something, instead of guessing forever from the sidelines. The worst feeling isn't losing because you tried and it didn't work. That one's fine, honestly. That one makes you better. The worst feeling is looking back in 5 years at the exact moment you had a real shot, and knowing you talked yourself out of it because you were tired that day. Stop treating every normal opportunity like it's a final boss fight that ends your whole run if you lose. It's not that, but most of the time it's just a small thing with basically no real cost. Just go do it anyway. This connects straight to the isolation thing, because a lot of you are dealing with that too. Maybe you feel like you don't really have people who get it. Maybe you've just decided you're bad at talking to people. So you've gone full stealth mode, get through every room without anyone noticing you exist. And then you walk into an actual room full of people and your brain panics. Because somewhere along the way you decide that every interaction has to be this huge, charismatic, main character moment or doesn't count. That's an insane standard. Nobody's actually operating like that. Instead, turn the difficulty down. Connection isn't one big cinematic moment you have to nail perfectly. It's mostly just small, dumb, low-stakes stuff. You don't need a deep conversation to break the isolation. You need one sentence. Ask what someone thought of the lecture. Say something about the weather. Say hey to the guy at the gym you've made eye contact with 4 times now and never spoken to. It doesn't matter if it's awkward. It doesn't matter if the conversation goes nowhere. The only thing that actually matters is that you said something instead of nothing. You haven't practiced this muscle in a while, so it's going to feel clumsy. And that's expected, not a sign you're broken. Every awkward hey is just a rep. You're not trying to be charming, you're just trying to come out of hiding for 5 seconds at a time. On repeat until it's not terrifying anymore. Real life is just genuinely a lot. It's loud, it's unfair, and it asks too much of you most days. And none of that means something's wrong with you specifically. That's just what the thing is. But you don't have to fix all 5 areas of your life by tomorrow. You're allowed to put 4 of them down and just focus on one first. Pick one small, low-stakes thing today and actually do it. Quietly, no announcement required. And the scoreboard in your head, the one where you're convinced you're behind everyone, it's not real. Nobody's keeping score. Nobody's watching your worst moments and ranking you against your friends. Stop running the race you think everyone else is in. Run your own. You're not behind, you're just on a different clock than the people you keep comparing yourself to. Welcome to Shift Logic. Move in silence, build at your own pace. See you in the next one.